So guitar has a lot of different techniques to play lots of notes pushed down with your fingers, but an open note or open string is a completely different way of playing guitar. And one day I was playing guitar and I was trying to play a power chord, and I kept hitting the third string, the one below the first two, like this. And I was struggling to play just the two notes. And I noticed if I played certain areas on the neck, I would get what sounded like an actual decent chord with that string being played, and it was an accident. But a lot of the accidents we have in guitar can create opportunities. So I noticed the first dot, second dot, and third dot all played nice with this third string. And if I were to put my finger down on this first dot here and play like this, power chord, and play the open note, which is the third string here, so 1, 2, 3, you wouldn't think it would sound good until you start playing it as a rhythm. So if I start playing this in 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, and I play that open note at the bottom, has a little more volume to it, has a little more depth. And if you move the power chord around on the neck, the note stays open if you keep your fingers in that position to let air pass underneath. So I'm going to show you how that sounds, but how we can play with this open note to play actual songs. And you'll notice a lot of cool music will have these open notes that become what are called drone notes. So a drone note is something that's really easy to play because it never changes. So you can kind of play whatever you want, and that'll keep your key and everything in line. So I'm going to start again with the first finger on the first dot here. Play that first note. Then the next note with my pinky. And then I'm going to let the third note play out on its own. What's cool about this one is it's playing the same note twice. See that? So I start playing this. It sounds kind of like a Blink-182 song or something. So if I play it faster, you notice you can start getting a pattern or a phrase that gets in that 4 counts. So drone notes are something that I discovered on accident, like I said, but you can use them on purpose. So it applies to basically any power chord you're playing that has a third note that's being unplayed. And so if I were to start here on this first dot and this third dot, or first dot and second dot, play like this. If I were to play the next strings over, it also works. It doesn't work past the on the third string because that's a different chord or different key. So you have to get a little bit tricky with that one. But these strings here, these 1, 2, 3, and these 1, 2, 3, they all play nice. So this string here, this one here, and this one here are both drone strings, is what I call them. So when I'm playing a song, sometimes I'll create a really creative finger picking pattern. I'm like this. And it sounds really cool. Like it sounds like I really know what I'm doing with doing very little. And I'm only playing really 2 notes with my fingers, and I'm plucking 3. And you can play them all down like this, or you can do a strumming pattern with your thumb and your 2 fingers like this. And just kind of dance around. And the cool thing about drone notes is they kind of support each other whenever you follow the dots. If you don't go on the dots, you start getting into this kind of realm where you're not sure if it's working or not. And I'll show an example of that, where I'll start on this first dot, play the second dot, play the third dot, and they'll play to the 4th dot, and it might not sound right because something's off. And you'll notice right when you hear it. So I'm going to start here. Here we go. Not quite right. So in music, there's a thing called a scale. We won't get into what a scale actually does, but a scale kind of is the rule book for what notes will work together. And all you need to know is that this dot right here does not work with the drone note, but this one does. So the one right above it. So if you count the frets, it would be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th fret. 10. So I'm going to go to the 3rd fret first. Here we go. Go up, So that drone note's easy to play. So I play on the next strings over, you'll hear the same thing. So it's really interesting to get that note open and see what it sounds like. So I'm going to play a little bit faster. You'll notice if you play fast and move around a lot, the drone note kind of keeps things together. It's like an anchor on a boat, and it's kind of keeping the whole song grounded in one note. So if I start here, notice how I go up, it keeps it down. Once again, just following the dots, and I'm going up one on this 10th fret here to make it follow the drone note. But you'll notice that a lot of chord playing is actually drone notes. So if you're familiar with any chords on the bottom of the guitar down here, at the head of the guitar here, you'll notice a G chord has 2 open strings playing. And it makes sense because you only have 4 fingers to play with, you know, in a normal guitar setting. So 2 of the notes are going to sound like drone notes. If I play a D chord, you see that note right there? That's open. If I play an A chord, which you don't have to know these chords, but I'm showing that they exist all over the neck. So I love using drone notes to make the sound more full and also more fun, because guitar can get kind of strict sometimes with the notes you're playing, and this opens up the opportunity to explore and also keep the sound rooted inside of a key or a note. So I'm going to go ahead and try to play around here and find some different sounds, but you'll notice that I'm not really having to stray that far away from the actual drone note to find the notes. Here we go. So you notice I've only stayed in these 2 drone notes. I'm just dancing around on these 3 dots right here with my finger. And I would encourage you to try playing around with the drone notes you have. Find ones that work. You'll notice there's a lot of really cool chords you can play without much effort. And another example is if I just play the bottom note, the top note together, and then play another note on top, you can make the biggest note and the smallest note in the guitar play together as if they're playing a drone note. So I'm going to try that. So it's not like an amazing song, but it shows you that you can use those 2 notes together because they're an actual octave. And the last thing I want to show with the drone note approach to playing guitar is you don't want to have it playing all the time. So if you're playing drone notes, you're actually going to drone out the rest of the notes eventually because it's playing so much. So what I recommend you try doing is, instead of playing all the time the drone note, give your audience or give your listener a chance to rest and listen between the drone notes, because they're really great for introducing a chorus or a phrase or something. But the second that you start playing it for everything, it's going to feel kind of boring. So here's a quick example of how you can use a drone note in a song or writing a song. You can bring it in, pull it out again, bring it back in again, and it makes it sound more dynamic without adding a lot of work to the playing. So it's very low effort, high efficiency playing. So I'm going to start here on this 1st, 2nd, 3rd dot. I'm going to play up here, and then down, and up here, okay? And if you just follow along and listen, it's more about the exercise of hearing the drone note versus not hearing it. So I'm going to play with it, without it, then with it, then without it, then with it. So you can hear that difference. So here we go. With it first. Remove it. So that's basically how you play drone notes, and if you have any ideas you want to try with them, throw them in there, see how they sound. But playing a chord wrong sometimes opens up new opportunities you didn't know you had before. And once I realized I could play these two strings with these two strings at the same time, it became a lot of fun. And I got to focus more on my right hand playing different chord variations and patterns. And the whole neck is meant to be played, so don't be afraid to come up here higher on the neck and try those drone notes. But also there's more drone notes hidden inside the guitar, so if you find those and play them together, it can be a lot of fun. Thanks again for following along today, and I'll see you next time.